In this episode, we're going to take a look at blimps. That's what this is. This is a MOVO blimp. I'm going to compare it to this RØDE blimp, and I'm going to tell you why I think this MOVO blimp is not only better, it's a heck of a lot cheaper. Okay, I'll put links below into the various parts of this video if you're already familiar with this. The first thing I want to do is I want to compare this to the RØDE blimp. I want to show you what they each come with and a discussion of some things I really like about this over the RØDE blimp. Let's go check that out. The RØDE, of course, comes with the blimp and the shock mount. I'll go over that in a minute. And you have the quick start guide. Here's some extra parts, which is always good. These little rubber bands on this isolate the microphone, and those things can break. And then this. You may think of this as a muff or a dead cat. It's actually referred to as a dead wombat. It's basically a very furry cover that fits over the blimp, and when it's really windy and you really want to isolate the noise, you would put that over the blimp. Let's get rid of the extra parts and the manual and take a look at this shock mount for the mic. It's a good shock mount as you would expect from RØDE, really good quality. I want you to notice a few things for this comparison when I go over the MOVO later. This little bar and screw right here, when I loosen it, it's just a mount and doesn't do anything. That will be important later, as you'll see on the MOVO blimp. It does have these clamps and springs which clamp around the blimp. The way you adjust the angle of the handle is you unlock this, move the handle to position, and then clamp the arm back down. The problem is it doesn't really clamp it down tight over time because it loosens, which is a pain. On the other side, you can tighten a knob and it will now clamp it down better, but it tends to come loose over time and with use. The shock mount itself is a standard shock mount. You mount your mic in here on these two holders. It holds the mic and keeps it from picking up handling noise, such as when it's mounted on a boom pole and being handheld. This is okay, but I don't like this XLR cord arrangement on the back of the shock mount. If you notice right here, the cord is supposed to route through here and then go up through here and then into the back of the blimp itself and then plug into the microphone. That's okay, and you can make it work, but it's kind of a pain, as you'll see. The other thing I like is there is a separate mount for mounting on a boom pole, and the XLR jack is embedded down here, and the cord is embedded in the handle. But here's what I don't like. I'll use this XLR to demonstrate. You wouldn't normally do this, but I want to show you something. What's happened over time when I pull a bit on the XLR jack, the XLR on the handle starts to come out quite easily, and that really makes me afraid I'll damage the internal wires inside the shock mount. I really don't like that it can pull on the wires. I think maybe I could find a way to open this handle and possibly glue or tighten this up. I'm just not sure, and I don't want to mess with it. I'm okay with the way this pivots, but would have liked it not to come loose, and I have to tighten it up periodically. And then I mount it in the blimp. I'll show you how that's done in a minute. You take a microphone, this is the Deity S-MIC 2, really good microphone by the way, and you just pop it into the shock mount like this, and it snaps firmly into place. These mounts down here are adjustable, but you need a special tool or an Allen wrench. It's kind of a pain if you want to pull these back or forward to accommodate the microphone you're using. Let's say I wanted my mic mounted like this, but I want this shock mount back here and this one back here, so I don't cover this area here. I would have to readjust all of this. I also can't adjust this forward and backward, which I would really like to do to place the mic within the blimp. You would run this cable up and attach it to the mic and snap the XLR jack in, and now you'd be ready to shoot. You can use it just like this on a pole or handheld. It's a nice grip. I have to admit, holding this, it feels really nice to my hand. Now to mount this into the blimp, you'll notice this slot here. You just unscrew the back end like this, line it up with the slot in the shock mount, then just slide the blimp down the slot like this and it bottoms out. Now the mic is all tucked away in there. I don't know if you can see that clearly, but it's isolated and not touching the blimp. Now you take the end cap. Then you got to get this cord in here. It's kind of awkward since the cord doesn't capture on something. It's a bit fumbly for me. Just tuck it in here, then screw the back end on like this and maybe shove some of the cord back up into the blimp. Now you turn these knobs, twist this one to capture the blimp on the rail, and now tighten this back one down. Another thing I don't like, which is that the cord is in the way, and that's kind of fumbly too. That's another thing I don't like about this blimp. Now, I wish I could loosen this knob here, and I wish I could move the mic back and forth inside the blimp, but it does not move at all. But for a blimp, it's a great blimp. Let's take off the other end. You can see I'd have to do some adjustments with tools and whatnot to move the mic forward in the blimp to where I want it, like if I want the mic closer to the front of the blimp. If you've only got a single mic, no big deal, make all your adjustments and you should be good to go. The dead wombat, if you need it, especially for high wind conditions, stretches over the blimp. It's a bit of a pain to get on, but that's okay if you want it on there good and tight. You just pull it over the mic like this and stretch the back end over the back of the blimp. You really got to pull on this thing to get it on, and it will then pop over the end like that. Now the Rode Wombat is open down here. The Wombat is opened all the way down the shock mount, and then you grab this pull string and cinch it up like that. Press this tightener thingy and cinch that up like that. There's the Rode blimp and its accessories. Now let's take a look at the MOVO blimp. Here's the MOVO blimp. It also comes with a set of instructions and these rubber backs. They can break sometimes if you use it a lot or bad handling, and that way you can just replace these on the shock mount if they break. I haven't really had any break, just wear down over time. You get a manual, just like the Rode blimp. You get extra parts, just like the Rode, and you get a happy or a sad with this product support card, and it tells you what to do if you're sad about it. Same with Rode. Rode has incredibly long warranties. MOVO also includes a dead wombat. I like that it's not white, and I also love that it has a zipper closure mechanism, and as you'll see, it fully covers the entire blimp, cords, and underside of the shock mount. The other thing Rode doesn't include is this bag, which is not really a big deal, but it is sure nice to place everything in the carry bag and not lose things, which can happen. It's a nice bag, looks waterproof to me, so that's a nice extra I didn't get with my Rode blimp, and the zipper dead wombat with the darker color fur I like better, personal preference. Let's take a look at this shock mount, and frankly the shock mount itself is worth the entire price of this blimp system. First of all, they supply 3 shock mount mic mountings, which is cool as you can use one of the shock mounts to mount your XLR jack and keep it isolated from flopping around. I can use all 3 of these mountings and use the end mount for the XLR jack, and the cord sticks and doesn't flop around. The cord runs through this little rubber mount and it securely locks down in place, which I really appreciate. The wire goes down the handle and through it, but this handle is much better than Rode's. It's rubberized. Just like Rode, you have a mounting on the bottom for boom poles, light stands, or whatever. This cord looks funny just hanging there, and again, Rode isolates the XLR jack into the handle and runs the cord through like this one. I don't know how you would do that on this one, but frankly, after using it, I actually like the cord hanging out as it gives me some flexibility, and I don't have a problem with this being mounted in the handle in a piece of plastic or something, and then the thing coming out or tugging on the cord and breaking it. So this actually works okay for me the way this is set up. The cord is internal, goes through the handle, and is held for moving around. This rail is metal. In fact, most of this seems all metal to me, whereas the Rode seems like mostly plastic. This is a much better way to angle the mic. One knob, loosen it and move it. It's geared, which is nice, so I can set it here and it's not going to move around. I don't need anything where I need to tighten up this handle mechanism. It doesn't come loose. I simply loosen it, gear it into place, and retighten the knob. The spring latch mechanism for the blimp seems a bit better and less prone to breakage and locks down the blimp itself nicely, which you'll see in a moment. Here's where it's really cool and where I think it hands down beats the Rode system by far. First of all, you have this knob here. You simply loosen the knob, and I can now slide this entire mechanism front to back to adjust my mic inside the blimp without any tools or taking it apart. On each one of these shock mounts, you can loosen them independently and move them along the slide wherever you want them. Now let's adjust the middle one. And finally, the front one. So all of these slide into whatever position you want, which I really appreciate for various microphones. If I have a really long microphone or only want 2 of these, I can simply loosen the last mount and slide it off the back end. I really like this holder, and again, this thing alone is worth the entire price of this blimp system. Mounting the mic is pretty simple, just like the Rode shock mount. I'll again mount the Deity S-MIC 2 in here. You simply slide the mic into place like this, then clamp the shock mounts onto the mic itself. Now notice, I'll adjust in a moment, but it's not interfering with any of the microphone tube dynamics. I can just move this back some, undo these 2 knobs, and slide this back where I want it. Plug the XLR jack into the mic. I can play with and slide all these into place wherever I want them, and when I'm done playing, lock them into place on the slide. Again, unlike the Rode, I can slide these and lock them down. The cord is held firmly in place and I don't have this cord flapping around. And the shock mount does what a shock mount should do. It keeps any handling noise from going into the mic. Of course, we have the mounting screw on the bottom. Now mounting this into the MOVO blimp, same deal. There's a slot on the bottom that slides on. You just unscrew the end a quarter turn, grab your shock mount, and slide the blimp onto the shock mount just like the Rode. If it binds, just loosen the knob a little bit. Make sure it's pulled all the way on. Tighten the knobs and notice this one does not interfere with the cord. Now we tighten the front one. It tightens a lot faster and more securely in my opinion. Now you place the end cap back on, a simple quarter turn does it, and now the mic is isolated. I don't know if you can see this, but the mic is inside there securely, not touching the blimp right now. Let's take a look inside. There's the mic, and notice I can set this particular mic forward and backward with the slides to get it where I want, even when I have the blimp all assembled. I like the adjustability. I like its color instead of the light gray, but that's a personal opinion. Now they also have a dead wombat included, and it mounts the same way. Slide it onto the blimp and pull it over, then zip up the front zipper and zip up the back zipper. Now you'll notice that this wombat fully covers the rail system. The only thing sticking out is the handle, which I also like. This whole thing is so much better than the Rode mechanism, although to be fair, this is a newer product and Rhodes has been around for many years. And there's the MOVO blimp, how it's built and put together and what I really like about it. This blimp, in my opinion, is better, and it's $179 cheaper than the Rode blimp. Now, I've had this thing for months, and for some reason, I don't know why, where I live in Oregon, it's always windy at some point, and for months it has not been windy here where I live, so I haven't been able to try it out. So what we're gonna do, but we're just gonna fake some wind so you can see what this thing does. So I don't really need to test the Rode and this blimp. They're gonna have similar attributes and sound qualities. I already checked them out. They're similar. Just take my word for it. So let's go check that out. Right now, about 10 to 12 inches away, I have the blimp on and the furry cover on. Again, I'm about 10 to 12 inches away. I haven't changed anything, and I've taken the furry wind cover on. The only thing that's on the microphone right now is the blimp. I've taken the wind cover off, so all we have is the NTG5 sitting in the shock mount and nothing protecting it. Now I've added the foam wind cover over the mic just to see if you can hear the difference between no foam wind cover and a wind cover. You wouldn't normally put the foam wind cover on and then put it into the blimp and then put in the furry wind cover. That's just too much. If you're shooting outdoors and you do need a blimp to cut down on wind noise or something, it's great. You're looking at the same product, similar and equivalent, with a few more features and goodies Then the Rode Blimp. The Rode Blimp, I think, comes in at $260. This comes in at $99. I think it's a steal. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Now I've taken the blimp on. We just have the microphone, the NTG. Now I've taken the blimp off, so all we have is the... I've taken the wind cover off, so all we have is the NTG. I've taken the wind cover off, so all we have is the NTG.